Jam more than once, multiple
Three
times.
times.
3 as a matter of fact. I knew it was multiple and not just once or twice, but 3 times. He's a really hot poet. Y'all came on a real special night. He hasn't performed in Detroit since 2000, and this is his first feature in Detroit. That's right. That's right. I know a lot of y'all are familiar with this cat already. So let's just go ahead and get right on into it, and then we'll take a 5-minute break. We'll get to the rest of this open mic. Poets don't disappear. We got an announcement, and then we're going to do the round robin and close it down so y'all can enjoy the rest of your weekend. So, without any further ado, everybody, y'all give it up for Big Papa E. Give it up for Big Papa E. What's going on tonight, y'all? This is the first time here, too. This is the first one on.
I'm short, don't hate. Okay, so check it out. I sold everything I own. Everything I own. I was most recently living in Austin, Texas, but I have no more possessions. I sold them all. I sold my scooter. I'm completely free of any anchors to places I don't want to be. That means I don't live anywhere, which means I live everywhere. So right now, y'all are in my living room and you're my family, so thank you so much for accepting me into your space. I do a lot of work for high school kids, and they're always asking me to write a poem for them. And it's so hard because I do a lot of college stuff and I cost way too much. So I put together a whole book of stuff that wouldn't get anybody fired or suspended from school. It's got no cuss words in it. And this is the poem I wrote specifically for them. It's called Propers. This one goes out to those who refuse to be defined, who look at government forms as a challenge, who see the safe little boxes next to Caucasian and Asian, Black and Hispanic, and make their own little box labeled all of the above, who scratch out the question entirely and write their own names in large capital letters, who, when forced to choose between male and female, write instead, see attached 27-page document detailing why my gender and sexuality will never fit within the confines of your stupid little boxes. This one goes out to those who fight every day for the simple right to exist. For every gay kid ever beaten up for being gay. For every straight kid ever beaten up for being gay. That's a whole different story. For every girl who looks into the skinny eyes of magazine models and shouts, I don't need the body of a skinny 12-year-old boy to be beautiful. Gaze upon my thick thighs with envy. For every boy who winces when his friends measure their masculinity by how many girls they screw over and are man enough to call them out for it. For every girl who has screamed enough and marched with her sisters to take back the night from monsters who would rather they stay at home afraid. For every band geek who picked up a guitar, or drumsticks, or a French horn instead of a bong. For every poet who picked up a pen instead of a gun and expressed their anger with words and not blood. For every jock who refused to see those physically weaker than them as less than them. And for every teacher who risked their jobs by simply being there when no one else would. This one goes out to you.
Yeah.
Those who refuse to define themselves by their GPA, by the size of their parents' bank accounts, by the clothes they wear, the music they listen to those who demand to be defined by their actions, not by their fashions, who can't wait to turn 18 so they can finally vote those idiots out of office, who refuse to be passive consumers in this self-centered nation and throw away their television to make their own movies, who throw out their PlayStations to make their own video games, who teach themselves to play their own music and write their own novels and create their own art, but most of all, this one goes out to the kid listening right now who thinks I cannot possibly be talking about them. The quiet kid, the one who never speaks, the one who doesn't raise his voice or his hand, the one with no friends, who's never been on a date, the one ignored by parents, by teachers, by other kids. Yes, this one goes out to you most of all. Know this. I understand. I hear you. I used to be you. Don't you let anyone say your voice has no value. Raise your voice, kid, and don't ever stop. So the debate's going on right now, and I was checking it out, like trying to be all sly so y'all wouldn't see me. Obama's kicking ass. That's all I'm saying. He keeps saying this like concise, awesome stuff, and McCain's like, I have to wake him up. Here's another piece I wrote for young people. I do a lot of work for young people, and this is for that time. You know, when you're out of high school or you're out of college, and you want very much to be in control of your identity. You want very much to be in control of the way you go through life. But your parents are still struggling with that idea of letting go and letting you have that. The idea they had when they conceived you is a whole lot different, perhaps, than the idea of you standing right there saying, this is what I'm going to do. And it's a kind of a struggle at that time. And so this is about that time. Starts with a quote from a song, and I will spare you and not sing it. But the quote is, Mama always told me never look into the eyes of the sun. But Mama, that's where the fun is. There comes a time in everyone's life when they must be allowed to discover this truth. The sweetest berries are in the very heart of the sticker bush. It's the scratches that make them sweet. If I've learned anything about life, it's this. A knee without scars is evidence of a life unlived. Children, protected from playing in the dirt, grow into sick adults, unable to fight the simplest infections. Parents can't possibly redeem themselves for past bad choices by forcing their children into closets. This will only make them blind and afraid and vulnerable, and it will make them hate you. You can't protect me from my mistakes. I need them. I need the protection of calluses. I need the wisdom of scars. So, give me a life full of rope burns and splinters and heartfelt advice I'm allowed to ignore. Give me shins scraped by pavement and front teeth cracked by tree limbs and elbows bloodied into stories worth telling. At the end of my life, the last thing I want to see is a long series of safe choices and measured steps. Give me instead a life filled with dizzying triumphs, fueled by countless lovely mess-ups and wonderfully painful bad choices, with cockamamie schemes that sometimes actually worked, and stories so outrageous people never stop sharing them as their own. Please, God, let my last dying breath be scented with gentle regret for foolish stuff I had the courage to try, and none for things I dared not do. Mistakes are the only things that have taught me anything. And I have learned a lot. The only lessons worth learning are the ones that leave a mark. Okay, so here's another poem. It's a little different. I never wanted a weightlifter's body. Bulging biceps, more granite boulders than meat, carved by steel and syringes. Useless, save for poses and intimidation. No, I always wanted a swimmer's body. Perfect poetry in motion. Liquid made flesh. Hairless and streamlined. Muscles taut as drumheads pounding rhythms on the surface of the water in a syncopated symphony of grace and power and purpose. But alas, alack. Obviously, I've been graced with neither. No water has honed these thighs. No iron has etched these calves, for I have a poet's body. Hunchbacked and pot-bellied. Skin, not bronzed in oil, but pale and sallow from basking in the radiation of a computer screen in a darkened room. Body fueled not by steroids and energy bars, but by coffee. Lots of coffee. Give me some freaking coffee and make it dark and black as the devil's eyeball. You see, this body doesn't pump iron. It pumps irony into poem after, you knew it was coming, shut up. Pumping irony into poem after poem, slinging sweat on reams of bright white inkjet paper and sumo wrestling demons by candlelight. I've traded rock-hard abs for a rock-solid vocab. Tone trapezius is for a threadbare thesaurus is a mammoth gluteus maximus for a moth-eaten moleskin notebook. And 20 reps at the Bowflex for the 20-volume set of the Oxford English Language Dictionary. Oh yes, 151 pounds of pure definition. Give me a smoky poetry slam and a dingy dive bar of her cleaning and jerking in a Gold's Gym any day. My fellow slam poets may not be muscle-bound freaks, but they are multisyllabic monsters, lifting the spirit of the masses with the strength of their convictions and pulling down crooked regimes with pen strokes. My muscles propel my fingertips across keyboards at 86 truths per minute. My eyes that flash in the direction of every side. And my heart, the strongest muscle in the human body that weeps and moans and gnashes its teeth and fights and loves so hard, it nearly bursts from my chest every time it rains.
Whoa. Yeah.
Give it up for this beautiful venue and that gets it the hardest working barista in town. He's smiling, but he's working his tailbone off. Tip that man. Give that man a tip. Here's my tip. Don't wash cars for a living. All right, so I'm just kidding. That's my dad's joke. So, this is all I do. This is my life. I live for a living right now. And the way that I eat is by selling books and my poetry. I have two. One of them is called Come Destroy Me. It's my latest chuck.
How much is it?
Only $5 American.
Only $5!
Only $5, but for you I'll do $4.59. And then this one, I am a lazy writer, and I decided to write a haiku every day for a year. You guys know haiku? 3 lines, 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables, typically about nature and the passage of time, but we just, Americans, write about any damn thing we want. So I wrote a haiku every day for a year. It's called 365 Haiku. And I would like to read some haiku for people's birthdays. So what's your birthday? May 24th. Gemini? Gemini! I'm a Taurus, May 11th. I wrote this on your birthday. The hardest question in the world to answer is this. Baby, what's wrong? What's your birthday? That's my mom's birthday. That's when we went into the Iraqi war back in the day. That's my mom's birthday. And about $1? I'm just kidding. January 17th. Oh, I was bitter on my mom's birthday, apparently. This is a bitter ex-girlfriend haiku. You are useless as the alcohol swab before lethal injection. Think about that. That is messed up. That is a foul thing to say about someone. What is your birthday? September 28th. Alright, here we go. This is for you. I wrote this on your birthday. A tear weighs less than a raindrop, yet an ocean of tears can crush you. I'll do 2 more. What's your birthday?
August 30th.
August 30th. It's a Godzilla haiku. I did a whole bunch of King Kong haiku and a whole bunch of Godzilla haiku. So this is a Godzilla haiku. Eating raw people is like sushi without the rice. I never liked rice. Yeah, I didn't say they were any good. Sometimes you just wrote some bad ones. Like for instance, on this night I wrote this. Ready? I knew a girl named Nikki. I guess you could say she was a sex fiend. And then the next night was met her in a hotel lobby, masturbating with a magazine. You can do all of Prince's Darling Nikki as haiku. And I cheated, and that was like a whole week and a half of haiku right there. Cheated big time. I'll do one more. Carrie, what's your birthday?
June 24th.
June 24th. I dedicate this to John McCain. And the good Lord said, please, don't speak for me. I have my own voice. Okay, a couple more. How am I doing on time? Am I doing okay? I'm not overstaying my welcome.
5 minutes.
Oh, do more.
5 minutes, okay. Oh gosh.
Fire Lily.
Okay, so, okay, I'm gonna jump to this one. I don't have a very close relationship with my dad, and I've had plenty of opportunity to write, the I Hate You Dad poems, but I was trying to move beyond that because, my God, it's been a long time, He's 62. All that stuff in high school, and we were butting heads, was a long time ago for us. So I tried to just think about what we had in common back then, and it was very difficult, because we were not close, and we still are not close. But we did have one thing that brought us together, and still brings us together now. And this is what this poem is about. And it'll be my last, for this stage. I'll do more later. My father was a skilled barbecue genius. And every Central Californian summer, he would lay his magic hands on meats and conduct grand operas of seared flesh and glowing charcoal briquettes, lifting galloping symphonies of flame to do his bidding. His mammoth orchestra pit was nicknamed Krakatoa, a mammoth barbecue, not store-bought, but hand-built, brick by concrete brick, until it loomed over us, a visual horror show bereft of aesthetics, but efficient beyond reproach. It was our fiery altar to the gods of summer, and we worshipped every Saturday evening. When I was in high school, we were just a few streets removed from poor white trash and couldn't afford grade A choice number 1. So when my father bought meat, he had to pound it into submission. And I'm not talking with one of those namby-pamby chrome pin section at Sears. Oh no, my dad used a ball-peen hammer from the garage, and he would knock the resistance right out of that rump roast, cursing the day's frustrations away with every blow, attacking that T-bone till toughness fled shrieking, transforming cheap cuts of cow into beef-flavored butter that melted at the gentle kiss of a fork.
Wow.
One of my favorite images of childhood is sitting in the kitchen watching my father beat his meat. I'm talking some barbecue here. And while we stoked the coals from the safety of shredded lawn chairs, prodding porterhouses, charring chuck roasts, brushing and buttering and barbecuing briskets and ribeyes, we sat beside each other and didn't say a word, just stared deep into the flames of Krakatoa. Him drinking a silver bullet of Coors, me knocking back my brown bottle of IBC root beer, Marvin Gaye on the AM radio. And it didn't matter that I got crappy grades and cut class and stole books from the mall and played my depressing goth music too loud and too late and was probably on drugs and probably gay and probably a Democrat and probably going to amount to nothing but a burden on my parents. And it didn't matter that my dad and I really didn't speak anymore, that he understood me no better than I understood him, that he probably hated me as much as I hated him, that we were quickly becoming strangers in our own home, more disgruntled housemates who tolerated each other than family, than father and son, than flesh. Okay, yeah, all that stuff didn't matter, but in those moments at the backyard grill, we could at least pretend all that mattered was making sure the steak had enough secret recipe barbecue sauce so it wouldn't dry out, spreading the coals to distribute the heat evenly so no one got burned, Just me, my dad, in the backyard, while my mother and sister set the table inside and never, ever disturbed us. Thank you very much, Detroit.